Welcome to the CodeX Cantina, where I am Una.
And I am Crypto, scared to read this. I never learned to read.
I'm scared to read too, actually, because sometimes when I'm reading to my son, the words are just vomiting out of my mouth, but I'm not actually processing. My mind's somewhere else. So I'll read an entire book to him, and I have no idea what it's about because I wasn't actually processing what it's about. I haven't read these pages before. We're doing this tag live, and now I'm worried I'm going to read it out loud and have no idea what it's about.
Man, get ready for some editing, dude. You're going to have to edit
No.
We're beep out of us.
We are doing the dual screen, and I ain't doing any editing on this one.
No.
We are here for the page 112 tag. What is that? I don't know. I didn't write anything down. No preparation for that.
I have nothing. I'm so scared.
So, Shawn the Book Maniac, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, stop this video, kill my analytics, go to his channel and go subscribe to him. An amazing person. Really, really cool guy. One of the first people I kind of reached out to on BookTube. And just, he's been really friendly, very, very welcoming, very good cornerstone to BookTube. If you aren't familiar with him, please go check him out. He does a lot of literary fiction. Let me put that up first to start with. So he kind of, I think it came from an awards process or something like that. I think someone else did this, but he turned it into this tag with the idea of when you get a book, how do I know if I should read this, right? Because the book flaps, sometimes are hot crap and give away these terrible spoilers. One of my good friends, he always joked about the Blockbuster, you can't read the back of DVDs because it'll just be you think it's this, but then there's a surprise twist at the ending. And he's like, well, what the crap? That just tells me what the ending is the opposite of what you wrote here.
Well, those book jackets are totally meant to manipulate you as well. They're designed that way. Well,
they're not.
You can't ever trust those dang things.
They're not written by the author. They're written by the publishing company, typically, right?
Publicist. Yep.
They're written by a guy whose job is to sell you the book, right? So that's not a good way to really get a good feel for whether you like the book. The first few pages, sometimes author will spend a quarter of their time of what they were writing just on that part, just to draw you. Pages. Yeah, just to draw you in, right? So the idea is flip to page 112 of any book that you have or any book that you're thinking about getting and just read that. Get an idea for the flow, for the prose. You're not going to understand contextually what's happening. Hopefully there's no major spoilers, right? But the idea is that it's just a random page where you're supposed to, really absorb yourself into the prose and see if it's going to be something for you. So he turned it into this tag where we share 3 books we just take the 112 excerpt, we read it, we give our thoughts on it, and then go from there.
May I ask one question?
You may.
Why page 112? Is there a significance to that I should know about?
No, I don't think so. We'd have to go to, I think it's a book competition or something where they do this. I don't know how they chose 112. I'm pretty sure it was just a random number, I believe.
Oh, there's got to be a good story here somewhere. There has to be. That's just too, I don't know.
It's too fitting for our channel where we try to find answers where there are none.
Especially with numbers, right? 112. If you add them together, it's 4.
Yeah, spend too much time on that, and that's perfect for our channel.
It's 2 and 2? Right. That's us, 2 and 2.
Wait. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's 2 and 2. Okay. So what I'll do is I will read this, and then I'm just going to let you tell me what you thought, because I probably won't understand any of it, because that's just how my brain works. All right.
Okay.
Why, Alma? Whispered the mother. Who in the world can it be at this time of night? You don't suppose he... Well, I'm not going to the door anyhow, Mother. I don't care who it is. And of course, he wouldn't be such a goose as to come at this hour. I love that line. She put on a look of miserable trepidation and shrank back from the door, while the hum of the bell died away in the hall. What shall we do? Asked Miss Layton helplessly. At least I can pronounce names in this book.
You're doing good.
I totally screwed him with some foreign books. Let him go away, whoever they are, said Alma. Another and more peremptory ring forbade them refuge in this simple expedient. Oh dear, what shall we do? Perhaps it's a dispatch. The conjecture moved Alma to no more than a rigid stare. "I shall not go," she said. A third ring, more insistent than the others, followed, and she said, "You go ahead, Mama, and I'll come back behind to scream if it's anybody. We can look through the side lights at the door first." Miss Layton fearfully led the way from the back chamber where they had been sitting, and slowly descended the stairs. Alma came behind and turned up the hall gas jet with a sudden flash that made them both jump a little. The gas inside rendered itself more difficult to tell who was on the threshold, but Miss Layton decided from a timorous peep that it was a lady and a gentleman. Something in this distribution of sex emboldened her. She took her life in her hand and opened the door. What a cliffhanger! Dun. What a cliffhanger for page 112.
Where's page 113? Yeah, somebody ripped it out of my book.
What's going to happen? Come on. What's on the other side of the door? Is it just a pizza man or is it a mass murderer? What the hell? All right, so what did you think about...
I wonder if it's Mr. and Mrs. Crypto, lady and a gentleman.
The 2+2. Now, what did you think about the prose and the writing of this one page?
Obviously, this is very story-driven.
Yeah, super plotty. Super plotty, it seems.
Super plotty. I don't know if I just feel like this is very Southern, or it's because of your awesome interpretation.
Did I do some words really bad?
No, I don't think of that at all. I would not criticize your rendition. I just feel that vibe from it, from a few of the words, the setting of like turning on the gas lights. It's written like past tense. I feel like it's written a long time ago. These two ladies are in this, I feel like, old Southern house, and somebody's calling on them very late, and they're scared to answer the door for some odd reason.
Yeah, what I would say is there was a lot of dialogue with just straight descriptors, right? "Why, Alma?" whispered the mother. "What shall we do?" asked Miss Layton. "Oh dear, what shall we do? Perhaps it's a dispatch." It felt very dialogue, but I didn't get a lot of introspection that I'm kind of filling in a lot of what I'm supposed to feel. We're completely out of context, right? The context could have been given earlier. But it's definitely a lot more dialogue driven and plot based than I guess what I'm used to.
Yeah. And it's a mother-daughter, right? Yeah, mother.
Yeah, she said mother, right? Whispered the mother, which I assume it's the mother of the daughter, but we don't know. Yeah,
and I feel like this is a very one-sided relationship. I feel like the daughter is like, "Mom, I'll do what I want," right? I mean, she's kind of very dismissive of her mother, so not a lot of respect there. It's a very interesting relationship on the one page that we have.
It is. It's interesting. We would need
Go ahead, Mama. I'll come behind to scream if it's anybody.
I'll laugh if it's a Southern. I probably won't know the author. We'll have to look up some info on the author, but I'll laugh.
Oh, I definitely have to look this up and see what this is now. You know me.
We'll do this. When I list the authors, you look up where they're from. When we get
we're going to do a deep dive.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious about that one. All right, number 2. You ready?
I'm ready.
"Yes, I think I can do that. It was £4.05 that you gave me to keep. I remember the amount, for since I've been here, no one has come with half that." Well, we know it's in probably like London, right? Or England. "If they have 5 shillings, they think they can buy half London." Oh, shit, there it is.
That's funny. Nice job.
"My sister is very careful," said Jenny sententiously. The matron looked sharply at her and said, "Now come along with me. I'm going to fetch your sister's money. I can't leave you here. You'd get quarreling with my patients." "No, missus. Indeed, I won't say nothing to her." Now, this feels more Southern to me. Goodness. "Do as I tell you. Coming along with me." I'm trying not to do it. I'm sorry. So with a passing scowl, Jenny expressed her contempt for the woman who had come interfering in her business and went after the mattress. This feels so Southern.
Yeah.
Southern London, but I don't know. I can't do the London accent. Watching
No
her
British. Don't do
every
your British.
you know I can't. Watching her every movement. When they came back, Jenny's eyes were fixed on the matron's fat hand. That's great. I love that.
Keep going. It gets better.
As if she could see the yellow metal through the fingers. Here's your money, said the matron. £4.5. You can give your sister what you like. Esther, well, that sounds old, held the 4 sovereigns and the 2 half-crowns in her hand for a moment. Then she said, Here, Jenny, are the £2 you want to take with you to Australia. I hope they'll bring you good luck and that you'll think of me sometimes. Indeed I will, Esther. You've been a good sister to me. Indeed you have. I shall never forgive you. I shall never fuck. I shall never forget you and will write to you. It's very hard parting.
It's very hard parting.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of vernacular. Come.
A lot of vernacular.
Come. Never mind those tears. You have got your money. Say goodbye to your sister and run along. Don't be so artless, cried Jenny with, oh, come on. Susceptibilities were now on the move. Yeah, that wasn't, at first glance, okay, there was way too many syllables for me to attempt that. But it wasn't
probably
too
4 beers, yes.
Yeah, but after I looked at it for longer than a second, it wasn't so bad.
You're too used to reading on your Kindle.
Yeah, I need that size 200 font, man.
I know this is tiny. It's far away on my TV. I'm trying to read it over there.
Have you no feeling? Don't you know what it is to bid goodbye to your sister and perhaps forever? Jenny flung herself into Esther's arm, crying bitterly. Oh, Esther, I do love you. You have been that kind to me, I shall never forget it. I shall be very lonely without you. Write to me sometimes. It will be a comfort to hear how you are getting on. If I marry, I'll send for you, and you'll bring the baby. Oh. The baby? Whoa!
What?
Whoa!
Whoa!
Oh, things getting hot. Okay.
Dang! We didn't know there was a baby. I mean, we might have known the whole time, but this is a short story. Holy crap.
We just escalated things to 10. Goodness. Woo. Okay. Do you think I'd leave him behind? Kiss him before you go. Goodbye, Esther. Take care of yourself. Esther was now alone in the world, and she remembered the night she walked home from the hospital and how cruel the city had seemed. She was now alone in that wilderness with her child, for whom... Oh, these cliffhangers.
This one's much more confusing than the other one. How many people are in this story? Or is this inner monologue?
Well, the first one...
Is she just remembering something?
The first one, I'm like, are we going towards murder mystery or a porn story? Because that door... we don't know which way it's going. This one, this is getting serious with the baby.
Okay, so there's Jenny and Esther and a baby, and she's going to Australia from London, perhaps. Who is, though? This one... I wonder what this is from, because I don't feel like this... Without the context, this does not feel like it's written very well at all, being thrown onto page 112.
Yeah, it's hard just going straight. I was going to say the vernacular might be throwing you off, but it's hard to go into... I feel like we're thrust right into the middle of the story, and without the beginning and end, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, what is going on here?
Okay, here, Jenny, are the £2 you want to take to Australia. So somebody's talking to Jenny. Oh, Esther, I do love you. Jenny flung herself into Esther's arms. So there's 3 people. There's somebody, then there's Jenny, and then there's Esther, right?
I don't know. I'm not worried about who's in the scene because it doesn't matter because we don't know who those people are, right? It seems to me that this is an author that kind of likes to have those callbacks, right? We had the £4.5 called back to twice, right? And then at the end we had the baby drop, and then again there's like a baby in like the next paragraph. It seems like this is an author that likes to kind of put out an idea and then kind of like almost cycle through a couple of different ways of looking at that idea and maybe coming back and maybe reinterpreting it differently. I don't know, but I've noticed that, you know, something that comes up even in this one page is repeated just a few paragraphs later.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what book this is too.
Well, we're going to find out. Don't you worry. Now, okay,
I'm
so
not worried.
Between book 1 and book 2, which one would you rather have picked up to read?
So far, I'm going to say book 1, just because it was a little bit easier to follow.
Yeah, I think I liked the prose of book one. It was a little bit more simple. I'm not against vernacular or anything like that, but we're just plopped right in the middle of this story here.
It's much harder to read, obviously, because you have to think a lot more, and when you're plopped down in the center, it makes it almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the idea, though, right? We're supposed to just be looking at the prose. How does it flow? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Book number 3. Then he remembered and stopped. He would not add to his brother's bitterness by an exhibition of his mighty unshaken strength. He struck the axe into the log, standing up, looked over the... Oh, come on, Shawn. It is a fine... Does that say brulee? Does that say brulee? Over the brulee?
Over the brulee?
It is a fine bit of ground, Hugh, and will raise a good crop of potatoes. Aye, said MacDonald Dove.
Oh, we're in Ireland.
It has lain like what, because of potatoes and I? Like you're just gonna go there?
McDonald.
Just like that? I said MacDonald Dub. Sadly, you should read this one. Why don't you read it? You're the one that could do the Irish accent.
No, you have to read all 3 of them. I'm just the pretty one.
It has lain like this for 3 years. 3 years and then a rebirth? Are we going religious with this one? And ought to have been cleared long ago if I had been doing my duty. Indeed, it will burn all the better for that, said his brother cheerfully. And as for the potatoes, there is a bit of my clearing that Renaud might as well use. But Black Hugh shook his head. Renaud will use no man's clearing but his own, he said. I am afraid he has got too much of his father in him for his own good. I'm in for this one. This is my pick right here. I could sense the...
This seems very religious already.
Well, it's also the... he's got too much of his father in him, right? So
father sin.
Yeah. Bringing in the past, impacting the present. I think I'm in for this one. MacDonald Bond glanced at his brother's face with a look of mingled pity and admiration. Ah, he said, Hugh, it's a proud man you are. McDonald's have plenty of that, whatever, and we come by it good enough. Do you remember at home when our father and he went off into the reminiscence of our boyhood days, taking in gentle, kindly, loving tones till the shadow began to lift from his brother's face, and he too began to talk. They spoke of the father, who had always been to them a kind of hero, and of their mother, who had lived and toiled and suffered for her family with uncomplaining patience. She was a good woman, said MacDonald Bain, with a note of tenderness in his voice, and it was that hard load he had to bear. And I would to God she were living now, that I might make up her something of what she suffered for me. And I am thankful to God, and his brother bitterly, that she is not here to see me now, for it would be but add to the heavy burden I often laid upon her. You will not be saying that, said MacDonald Bain, but I am saying that the Lord will be honored in you yet. It was getting a lot more religious than I thought. Mm-hmm. Indeed, they're not much for me, said his brother gloomily, but the sickbed and 6 feet or more of the damned earth. Oh, damn, man. Hugh, man. Yeah, Hugh, man, said that his brother hastily. Hugh, man, said his brother hastily. You must not be talking like that. It is not the speech of a brave man. It is the speech of a man that is beaten in his fight. Ooh, I like this one a lot. Beaten, echoed his brother with a kind of cry. You have said the word, beaten it is, and by a man that is no equal of mine, you know that, he said, appealing almost anxiously to his brother. You know that well. You know that I am brought to this. He held up his gaunt, bony hands. Yeah, this one's my pick right here.
Yeah, this one's good. I like this one.
Yeah, very easy to follow. I get a sense of family immediately, right? They talk about the tenderness that they had for their parents, the impact that the parents had on them, not just because of obligation, but almost out of a sense of how it's ingrained in them. I felt very powerful it felt very powerful in this one.
Yeah, I could see the title, like this is called like The Three Brothers or The Brothers or something, very reminiscent of a family and the hardships they're going through. I like the religion. I like the symbology, and the adjectives feel like there's the suffering, there's the bony hands, there's the axe. It feels like there's a lot of harsh, almost violence in this, and then it's almost a redemption story for these brothers to overcome all these hardships in their life.
Yeah, well,
through God and religion.
Well, this is also conflict as a decision in literature, right? These are characters that are making a decision, not just like, should I go left or right? This is what's best in my life. Like, which way do I plow forward? And I can sense the meaning behind each of these paragraphs, where the first two, I'm not saying it's poorly written. I'm just saying I didn't, from an excerpt perspective, sense the motion in the writing. It felt like action without motion in a sense.
Okay. And then it picked up at the end. We got a little bit more dialogue, so we had some more movement.
The first one was just fun. Like, it had like that, well, what the heck is at the door, right? And then
you're talking about the whole first story. I thought you meant
the first story. Sorry.
Oh, first story. Okay.
And the second one, we had that hot, steamy baby drop, right? Like, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But in terms of just the engagement, paragraph, sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph, number 3's got it for me.
Yeah, I think whoever did this, they knew us. They knew that the religion would get us. Was this tailored for us?
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it's the religion that got me. To me, it was the family, right? The way that the tenderness that they had for the parents, the impact the parents had on them. That's what drew me in for that third one.
Okay, but it was it was good.
All right, so we'll go to the answers now. Where you Google who these people are, because I promise you I won't know who any of these are. We got number 1 is A Hazard of Fortunes by William Dean Howells, an American. Also, see, he wrote all of this information about the character. I didn't give him anything. I just said what the book was. Whoops. Sorry, Shawn. Love you, but I would have given more information had I known. I'm sorry. You probably just read that and it's just like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything. I'm sorry. Like, okay.
Did we mess up?
Maybe. I don't know. He probably hates us now. A Hazard of Fortunes by William Dean Howells, an American, published in 1890. You guys probably know all about Howells already. No, I do not. But if not, Wikipedia informs me he died in 1920 in New York City, aged 83, and was an American realist, novelist, literary critic, playwright named the Dean of the American Letters. Apparently, this is one of his first novels ever to be set in New York City. Again, according to Wikipedia, sounds a little doubtful in my humble opinion, and was heralded for its social justice / workers' rights themes. Which it could, but that excerpt didn't speak that to me.
Yeah, I didn't feel that. Women working, and they're the foreman's coming to their house to get them, and they're like, we got to see who's at the door, because they're in trouble for maybe inciting a riot at their workplace. The mom and the daughter, maybe. Okay, I'm feeling it.
It's also that sense of see, this context gives us so much, right? The era. The women in a role of servitude in that era are going to feel the obligation to answer or to be hospitable to whoever's at the door too, potentially too, right?
Yeah, if this is late 1800s in New York City, they're in a small little apartment or small little town brown house or whatever, townhouse. Yeah. Okay, I mean that helps out a little bit. I'm picturing more of this in my head, and okay, maybe this is a social book or short piece. Is it a book or is it a short story?
It says. I mean, these are page 112, so, I mean, if it's a short story, that's a hell of a lot of pages, right?
That's true, okay. These are full novels, yeah.
All right, number 2, Esther Waters, George Moore, Irish. Shocking.
Yeah.
Published 1890. Oh, that is so nice. He picked old books for us. That is very sweet of you, Shawn. Moore died in 1933 in London, born to a Catholic family in County Mayo, Ireland. While he's not widely read outside universities anymore, he was a naturalistic writer, heavily influenced by Zola, and himself influenced by Joyce a fair bit. Esther Waters is set in England, not Ireland, and is about a young religious woman from a poor working-class family who, while working as a kitchen maid, is seduced by another employee, then deserted. Oh, I wonder if that's where the baby came from. And against all odds, decides to raise her child as a single mother. Oh, okay. Yep. We got that baby line, and we were both just like, whoa!
Okay, so we kind of got that one.
Yeah.
It was a little confusing, but I think we got it.
Well,
I feel that one out.
112 wasn't a good random excerpt for understanding the characters, but it's clear that it led us a little bit into the plot there, right?
Yeah.
That was the one that we thought was Ireland, isn't it? Or was it the third one?
No, we thought the third one was Ireland.
Okay.
Or no, potatoes. Potatoes were the potatoes. Yeah, potatoes. We did the third one.
Okay.
No, we thought the second one was in London, and then she was going to Australia.
Now we done screwed up. Are you ready for this one? We couldn't get any of these. Number 3 is The Man from Glengarry. Glengarry? I don't know how to pronounce that. By Ralph Connor from Canada. Published in 1901. Connor died in 1937 in Winnipeg, age 77. He was also a working ordained Protestant minister. Didn't sense that religion at all in that one.
No. There was religion in the third story?
Whoa,
I missed
where'd
it.
that come from? Yeah. Apparently, this is a Canadian classic, which means that no one, not even Shawn the Book Maniac, has read it. That narration where he's talking in third person there. Look at that. Described
Maybe
as
we should read it.
That actually does sound pretty interesting. Described as a stirring old-fashioned romance about life in Upper Canada in the decade of Confederation. You might need to be specifically informed that Upper Canada was what is now the province of Ontario. The Confederation was in 1867. Glengarry is the name of a county in Upper Canada, and I'm probably destroying that name. I apologize, Shawn. Eastern Ontario that was primarily settled by Scottish Highlanders. If you have any other questions about Canadian history, I am sure I can Google the answers.
So I remember originally you saying that our schedule was not a whip and it was flexible. And I think this one could be, look into. That sounds really interesting. All the history and the heritage and something, Canadian that we've never read. That could be a good book eventually.
Right. That is definitely one that I think I can consider adding to the schedule. So very cool. Yeah. I think it's really cool doing this tag to get exposure to stuff that completely divorces you from your prejudices, from your expectations. I think it's very interesting just to dive into prose and just kind of say what speaks to your soul. And I think that's kind of what being a reader is all about. So Shawn, beyond just doing this tag one-on-one, thank you so much for pushing this tag in general. I think it's a wonderful idea and concept, and I'm very happy that you gave us the opportunity to do this with you.
Yeah, not only was it fun, that's the key thing there. So thank you. Yeah, we had a blast, for the last half an hour. It is really cool that, you don't have any of those preconceived notions of we didn't know the title, because that sometimes says a lot about a piece, right? And think of all the ones that we've read over the last couple of months, all of the Christmas stories. I read all of those, and sometimes their titles had nothing to do with them, or the titles almost felt like spoilers. I didn't see a book jacket. I didn't see a picture. I had no idea what these people looked like, in my head. I'm having to make it up on the fly. So good to try to immerse yourself with no knowledge. It really makes you kind of focus on those critical thinking skills, which is really important when trying to digest some of the material we do here at the CodeX Cantina. So thank you. I appreciate it, Shawn.
Wait, since we screwed Shawn over by not giving him any context and the answers, can I give it now real quick? So the first selection was The Memory Police, which you and I both read. And
good choice. That probably messed with him big time.
it had some beautiful prose just on that page that I noticed. But get this, the second book I chose from him was Clarice Lispector.
Oh, Wild Hearts?
No. I chose for him The Besieged City, which you haven't read yet.
Oh, I haven't. Okay.
But
I read that. So
it started off with this line. I love this line where I was like, ooh, because she's very strong into the feminist writing. I'm giving you the context now, Shawn. I apologize.
He had to pick it up. You can pick it up on her writing. She's just that good.
Listen to this line. You ready for this? Just then, the young man seemed to understand that she liked them a lot, and he detested her and desired them. For after all, he was a man. He couldn't stand courtesies any longer and would sweep away in a single gesture the smart little ladies of Salgaraldo, their trinkets, their whims, and be alone.
Dude, you just gave it to him. You had him to on a silver platter. You got to pick a harder book next time.
No, it's just beautiful writing, though, because this man's just he's smashing the woman's writings. Like, he's taking away what's important to her. And just the concept of just hating. Loved it. So I'm really excited to see what he says for there. But this is the best part here. So this next one, let me just read.
Book 3?
The book 3. You ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It gives me pleasure to watch his striking, thickly bearded face and the veins and muscles as they stand out upon his great and powerful arms whenever he makes an extra effort.
What is that? I can't place it.
Ooh, I haven't had you read that yet. It's a Tolstoy excerpt from his. He's got this auto.
I was like,
it's got this auto-fictional 3 things about him growing up, and this is an excerpt from it. And it was just
auto-asphyxiation. What?
Auto-fiction. Like it's a fictional story about himself, an autobiography in a sense too. Autofiction.
I just messed with you because sounded nothing like that.
I love the juxtaposition.
His veiny arms. I was thrown.
I just love the juxtaposition of this like overly masculine description directly juxtaposed of this man that's smashing the woman's belongings, but is two very different ends and 2 very different writers, right? One from a female author who writes a lot about feminism, and then Tolstoy, who I'm not going to say he writes about feminism. He writes more from a religious angle, but it was just very masculine in his early days of writing. I'm very interested to see what his reaction is to these.
Has Shawn recorded his yet?
Yeah, he's all recorded. We're gonna talk about publishing it at the same time. So Shawn,
okay, cool.
Here's finally the context that I was apparently supposed to email you. I apologize.
You're awful.
I am. Worst.
And we're going to make him watch the whole video too, so he gets it because at the end.
Gosh, worst partner ever, right? Like why
hit that like button, Shawn.
If we get 1 dislike, I'm going to know it's you, Shawn. I'm going to blame you for that dislike.
I'm going to hit the dislike button just to get you in trouble, Shawn.
Gosh, guys, if you've enjoyed today's talk, we will leave a playlist of our tags and drunken videos and stuff down below. Feel free to subscribe to listen to us ramble on, if you will. A little Led Zeppelin reference for you.
Are we done?
We're dual screen. You can't dead space me like this. You noob.
112.
Peace out.
Peace.